Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. And welcome, dear viewers, to another episode of The Virtues of Islam. We've been discussing the virtues of Islam in the meaning of brotherhood, how to find or see Islam's virtue in the way in which brothers and sisters in Islam deal with one another. And we've come to the point, the right of a brother or rights of brothers and sisters, that they should have peaceful engagements with one another. They should engage each other peacefully, and that they should not argue. And we were talking about this argumentation, speaking about what it is, what are the parts of it, how does it happen. And we've come to the place where we talk about how one person has an opinion, and another person has an opinion, and their opinions differ with one another. And this is going to happen between people. It's actually natural between people. But if someone holds on to their position zealously, strongly, and then the other one holds on to his position strongly, and this one brings evidence for his position, and the other person brings evidence for their position, and they raise their voices, now we have an argument. When discussions take place about an issue, you may see it from one point of view, while your brother sees the same issue differently. It becomes negative when you differ with him, and you both zealously hold on to your point of view. You strongly hold on to your point of view, bring evidence for your position, while raising your voices in a defensive posture. This kind of exchange is not peaceful and could lead to both of you holding a grudge against each other. And we're talking about an intellectual discussion, because Islam has evidences, and the Islamic evidence is mundabit. It is accurate. It isn't the mental gymnastics that people do when they argue. This one sees something, and then his mind goes into a flow, and the other one sees something, and his intellect is also flowing. If people are intelligent, they have flows of thought, and they argue for long periods of time based upon how well their mind flows. This can go on forever. There's a way to draw it to a close. A discussion is not the same as an argument. If you find that the discussion is sinking into an argument, you should politely withdraw from it. You should withdraw from it. You should withdraw from that discussion whether you are correct or your Muslim brother is correct. In any discussion, the object of a discussion is always to arrive at what the truth is. It is never those psychological problems of a person who has to overtalk everyone and show how intelligent they are so everyone will know, don't speak when I speak because I'm smarter than you. That's psychological. The real discussions and real dialogues that have value are those dialogues in which a truth can be found. And sincere people don't, it doesn't matter to sincere people whether the truth comes from your mouth or his mouth, as long as it is derived at or arrived at. When that can't be done, then the value of a discussion, and certainly the value of an argument, is lost. You should withdraw from that discussion whether you are correct or your Muslim brother is correct. Avoiding an argument is a right that your brother has over you, and it is a praiseworthy trait. You should not gradually lure your brother into an argumentative debate or a discussion where you and he begin to raise your voices in an attempt to outshout each other. This kind of behavior can lead to breaking the bonds of brotherhood, where one brother becomes the verbal enemy of the other. Even if the enmity is not apparent, one brother could hold in his heart a grudge. He might perceive his brother as only wanting to oppose him in everything, to prove that he is superior, or other evil assumption that comes from shaitan. There are reasons for arguments, reasons why some people argue a lot, right or wrong. These reasons are psychological, or we could say spiritual. They are nafsiyya in nature, and therefore must be remedied from within oneself, because it's inside that person why he or she has the need to argue for everything and about everything. For example, if a person expresses a mistaken opinion and someone else points out the mistake, however, the one who made the mistake may be too arrogant to admit it or correct it. All praises are due to Allah. Scholars have made mistakes in various issues and retracted them. The retraction of a mistake is praiseworthy and not a shameful thing. Retractions of mistakes indicate that a person is relegating himself or regulating himself to obey Allah and is placing his servitude to Allah above his vanity. This issue of vanity is a strong one. Telling someone that they're wrong, showing them their mistake. A person has to have a low level of vanity to be able to see his mistake and correct it. There are people who like to out-talk others to show their superior intellect. Because his style is argumentative, he causes people to have a grudge against him and some to have hatred in their heart for him. They don't like to talk to him or her. Some people are not mindful of the bad effects of the tongue. There's accountability for the speech and movement of the tongue. There are angels that write down things that are uttered by the tongue. Allah says, لا خير في كثير من نجواهم إلا من أمر بصدقة أو معروف أو إصلاح بين الناس. There's no good in most of their secret talks except in him who orders sadaqah or orders goodness or conciliation between people. The Messenger of Allah also has said them, told Mu'adh ibn Jabal, take hold of this. And he pointed to his tongue. And Mu'adh radiallahu anhu said, are we going to be judged for what we say? And he said, may your mother lose you, Mu'adh. Will people be thrown on their faces into the fire except for what their tongues have harvested? Among the reasons that for the occurrences of bickering, arguing, and disagreeing is the absence of an appeasing tongue. The person hasn't learned how to speak nicely. The tongue, as it once said, is small in size but big in sin, meaning that great disaster can occur from an evil tongue. It can cause the separation of loved ones. It can result in grudges being held and the formation of enmity, meaning enemies of one another. Many crimes are committed because of the tongue. There's no doubt that the tongue is not if the tongue is not controlled, arguments can take place on many issues. The argumentation can become habitual, meaning a habit of people to fight all the time verbally. In some people, it becomes habitual. So whenever and wherever they sit in gatherings with their brothers, they argue. This is not something that is praiseworthy. It isn't a good thing. It doesn't express the virtues of the religion. Argumentation is something which is in opposition to good character. If people who like to debate and argue would consider the merits of good character, they would not be so quick to debate and argue over every issue. There is a way in which using the tongue is good for us and is good for our brotherhood and increases the love. One way is extending love and encouragement to your brother, using your tongue, verbally encouraging your brother and sister, verbally encouraging the sisters, and encouraging the love between you by using the tongue. The tongue is a means to express love and appreciation, just as it is a way to preserve honor. You should not be stingy about expressing your love for your brother. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, إِذَا حَبَّ الرَّجُلُ أَخَاهُ فَلْيُخْبِرُهُ أَنَّهُ يُحِبُّهُ. When a man loves his brother, he should tell him that he loves him. This love is conveyed. The brother will say, أُحِبُّكَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. He will say, I love you, فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. The brother who receives that expression of love should reply, أَحَبَّكَ الَّذِي أَحْبَبْتَنِي لَهُ. May he, for whose sake you love me, meaning Allah's sake, may Allah love you. This exchange between brothers or between sisters is among the expressions that bring about brotherly love and friendship. Unfortunately, there are people who say, I love you for Allah's sake, but their statement is not sincere. And some don't know what it means to say, I love you for Allah's sake. The phrase, I love you for Allah's sake, أُحِبُّكَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, means that your heart contains a special love for your brother and sister. It means your heart contains a special love for your Muslim sister. This love requires that you preserve your brother's rights. And sister, that love, it means that you also preserve your Muslim sister's rights. To say, I love you for Allah's sake, then violate your brother's rights, contradicts the foundation of this love. Furthermore, there are people who express that they love someone for Allah's sake, but they do not understand what it really means. And this is necessary for every statement that we make, that we really know what we're saying. There are aspects of behavior that go along with this love. They go along with this expression, أُحِبُّكَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. I love you for the sake of Allah. Among these are speaking to your brother and sister, speaking to your sister in the best possible manner. Allah Ta'ala says, a translation of which is, and say to my slaves, they should only say those words that are best, because shaitan sows seeds of conflict and disagreement among them. قُلْ لِعِبَادٍ يَقُولُ أَحْسَنَ. In this verse, which is verse 53 of Surah Al-Isra, which is the 17th surah, Allah is commanding that you choose the best words as a means of expression. Al-Ahsan. The choice of the best words indicates a higher quality of expression than just good words. So you have two words. You have Hasan, which is good, and Ahsan, which is the best. Ahsan is a higher quality than a good word. It's the best words. Using the best verbal expressions possible are a means to develop love between the hearts of believers, and it expresses the virtue of the religion between people, which in itself is a requirement for the establishment of the Muslim society. Muslim societies are made up of brothers and sisters. Another means of expressing love for your brother is to commend him in his absence. When you are in the company of others, compliment your brother's praiseworthy qualities in his absence. You should only do this in his absence, not in his presence. If you commend him in his presence, you will be glorifying him. This is forbidden because it can cause a person to be vain and conceited. Evidence that supports this concept is found in Al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. عن عبد الرحمن ابن أبي بكر عن عبد الله قال أثنى الرجل على رجل عند النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ويحك قطعت عنق. A man was praised another man in the presence of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, woe to you, you have cut your brother's neck. However, if you compliment your brother in his absence, it will reach him. Mentioning good qualities of your brother to others has the effect of other people repeating what you said. So if you say someone is good at something, people will repeat that. Fulan, so-and-so said, he's good at this. In this way, many people will come to know of his good qualities because you mentioned them in his absence. This is also a means toward encouraging your brother to continue in that same positive way that brought the compliment to him. On the contrary, if you mention his evil qualities, it might encourage him toward evil. When it reaches your brother that you have commended him in his absence, it will make him happy. And when he hears that others have made good comments, his heart will be inclined to have love for the one who gave him the compliment in the first place. In our future episodes, we will continue on this topic, inshallah. I'm Talib Abdullah for the Sharjah. Broadcasting Corporation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.